I am Reed. I am 27, just an average dude. I've made tons of money mistakes in my 20s, and now I want to share everything I've learned to help you take control of your finances and your life. All right, so let me ask you something. You get a raise at work. Maybe 2 grand, maybe 5 grand, maybe 15 grand. What is the first thing that pops into your head? Be honest. Is it I am going to invest this, or is it I can finally get that new car? I can finally move into a better apartment. I can finally start doing that morning coffee run every day instead of making it at home. If you are anything like me, you said the second thing, and that, my friends, is what we call lifestyle creep. And let me tell you, I am the king of lifestyle creep. I am a certified expert in wasting money on things I did not need, and today I want to break this down for real. Not with some boring financial lecture, but with my actual real numbers, my actual real stupid decisions, and what I've learned since then. So what even is lifestyle creep? It is simple, really. It happens when your income goes up and your spending goes up with it. Instead of investing that extra money, you start spending more. You get a nicer apartment, you start eating out more, you upgrade your phone, your car, your wardrobe, and look, it doesn't feel bad at the time. It feels good. It feels like you earned it. You worked hard. You deserve it. And that is exactly why it is so dang dangerous, because it doesn't feel like a bad decision. It feels like a reward, but the math doesn't lie, and the math is brutal. Let me give you a quick example. Say you make 70 grand a year, pretty solid, right? And you get a raise to 85 grand. That is 15,000 extra dollars. Now, what most people do is they immediately upgrade their lifestyle. Maybe they lease a nicer car, maybe they move to a more expensive apartment, maybe they just start spending an extra few $100 a month on going out. Nothing crazy. But zoom out for a second. What if instead of spending that money, you invested $500 a month into VO or VTI? Something simple. Average return of about 8% a year. After 10 years, that is $91,000. After 20 years, that is $275,000. After 30 years, that is over $680,000. Almost 700 grand. Just from not upgrading your lifestyle and investing the difference. That is wild, right? But here's the thing, knowing that and actually doing it are two completely different things. And I know that because I have failed at this harder than almost anything else in my life. So let me tell you about my car problem. I love cars. I still love cars. It is my thing. I don't drink. I don't party. I don't go out to clubs. I just like cars, and for a long time, that was my excuse for why I spent so much money on them. When I got my first full-time job, I was driving a 2016 Hyundai Veloster. It was fine. It got me where I needed to go, but I wanted something cooler, something faster, something that would make people look at me and think, oh, that guy's got a cool car. So I went out and bought a 2017 Subaru WRX. After taxes, I paid about $26,000. I financed it for 7 years. My monthly payment was $443. I was 18 years old driving a Subaru WRX. I felt like the coolest kid on the block, but I didn't stop there. Oh no, I had to mod it. I put on new wheels. I put on carbon fiber parts. I put on bucket seats. I got it tuned. I spent probably $12,000 total on upgrades for that car. $12,000. And here's where it gets painful. I went back and looked at a photo from the 27th of June 2019 when my Subaru was getting tuned at a shop on a dyno. At that point, I had about $10,000 into the car. VU closed at $276 that day. If I had taken that $10,000 and put it into VU instead, it would be worth $20,472 today. Bitcoin closed at $11,000 that day. If I had put that $10,000 into Bitcoin, it would be worth $95,000 today. $95,000. Instead, I had a slightly faster Subaru that I eventually sold and lost every single dollar I put into those upgrades. You don't get your money back from car mods. In fact, they usually devalue your car, so I spent 12 grand and got zero back. But I didn't learn my lesson. Of course I didn't. I got another raise and I sold the Subaru, and I bought a 2017 BMW 340i with the B58 engine. For those who know, that is a legendary motor. I was so excited. I put a big turbo on it. I put on air suspension. I probably put around 15 grand into that car total. Let me just use 10 grand for simplicity again. I have a photo from the 24th of November 2020 when I had the BMW VO closed at $328. If I had taken that $10,000 and put it into VO, I would have $16,777 today. Bitcoin closed at $19,000 that day. If I had put that $10,000 into Bitcoin, I'd have about $55,000 right now. Instead, I sold the BMW with all the upgrades on it and lost every single dollar I put into those mods again. So just with those two cars, I wasted roughly $22,000 on upgrades that I never saw again. And that is not even counting the car payments themselves or the insurance or the gas. If I add all of it up, I probably spent close to $50,000 on cars in my 20s that I have nothing to show for today. Nothing. Just memories of having a fast car and a whole lot of regret when I look at what that money could be worth now. And the craziest part is I kept doing it. Every single time I got a raise, I bought a new car. It was my cycle: get a raise, buy a new car. Mod the car, sell the car, lose all the money, get another raise, repeat. I was stuck in this loop and I didn't even realize it because it felt normal. Everyone around me was into cars. My coworkers were buying new cars. My friends were modding their cars. It felt like the thing to do. And that is the thing about lifestyle creep. It doesn't happen in one big purchase, it happens slowly over time. You start with one upgrade, then another, and before you know it, your expenses have gone up by $1,000 a month and you don't even remember how you got there. Let me give you some other examples that are probably more relatable than cars. Maybe you start buying a $5 coffee every morning instead of making it at home. That is $150 a month right there. Over a year, that is $1,800. Over 10 years, that is $18,000. And that is just coffee. Maybe you upgrade your apartment, you go from a $1,200 rent to a $1,700 rent. That is an extra $500 a month, $6,000 a year over 10 years. That is $60,000. Maybe you start eating out 3 times a week instead of cooking at home. That is probably an extra $200 a week, $800 a month, almost $10,000 a year. See how fast this adds up. None of these things feel like bad decisions individually. A $5 coffee feels like nothing. Moving to a nicer apartment feels like you are treating yourself. Eating out more feels normal because everyone does it. But when you add all of these things together, you are talking about tens of thousands of dollars a year that could be going into your future instead of into stuff that doesn't last. And I see this with people around me all the time. I had a coworker who was making over $200,000 a year, $200,000, and he was living paycheck to paycheck. Every single time he got a raise, he bought a new car or a new Rolex. He had like 5 Rolexes. He had a sick car collection. He looked rich, but his finances were actually worse than mine. And I was making $19.75 an hour at the time. He was pulling in $200,000 and had less savings than I did. That is what lifestyle creep does. It makes you look successful while quietly destroying your financial future. And look, I am not judging him. It happens to almost everyone. I guarantee you 95% of people fall into lifestyle creep at some point. The question is whether you catch it before it costs you too much. So what do you do about it? How do you fight lifestyle creep when it feels so natural? I've been working on this for a while and I want to share the strategies that actually help me. First thing I do when I get a raise is I increase my investments before I change anything else. Before I buy anything, before I upgrade anything, before I even think about spending that extra money, I go into my 401k or my Roth IRA or my brokerage account and I bump up my contributions. Last time I got a raise, I was contributing 6% to my 401k. I got a 4% raise and I immediately bumped my contribution to 7%. It is not a huge change, but it makes a difference over time. And more importantly, it trains my brain to prioritize investing over spending. That first move sets the tone for everything else. Second thing I do is I keep my lifestyle the same for at least 3 to 6 months after a raise. I don't let myself spend any of that new money until I've had time to adjust and think about where it should go. This is huge because it breaks the immediate reward cycle. When you get a raise, your brain goes, you deserve something nice and you want to spend it right away. But if you wait a few months, that urgency fades and you can make a smarter decision about where that money actually goes. Usually after a few months, I decide to invest most of it and maybe treat myself to one small thing. One purchase, not a whole lifestyle upgrade. Third thing is I set up automatic contributions. This is the single best thing I've ever done for my finances. I have automatic transfers set up from every paycheck into my investment accounts. I never see that money. It never hits my checking account. It goes straight into VO or into my Roth IRA. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to make a decision every month. It just happens. And that is key because if you have to make an active decision to invest every time you get paid, you are probably not going to do it. Life gets in the way. You see something you want to buy. You tell yourself you invest next month. But if it is automatic, you don't have that choice. The money is already gone. And future, you will be so grateful. Fourth thing is I changed my mindset about what is actually a flex. For a long time, I thought having a fast car or a nice watch was a flex. I wanted people to see me and think, wow, that guy's doing well. But now I realize the real flex is financial freedom. The real flex is being able to quit your job whenever you want, being able to travel whenever you want, not stressing about money, not living paycheck to paycheck, even when you make good money. That is way cooler than any car or any watch. And once I started treating financial freedom like a flex, it became a lot easier to say no to lifestyle creep. Because instead of thinking about what I am giving up in the present, I started thinking about what I am gaining in the future, and what I am gaining is time freedom options, peace of mind. You can put a price on that. Fifth thing is I spend with intention. I still buy things I enjoy. I still treat myself. I still want to buy a nice watch when I get my next promotion. But I do it intentionally. I budget for it. I plan for it. I don't just let spending creep up on me. If I want to buy something, I ask myself a few questions. Do I actually need this? Will it still make me happy in a month? Am I buying this because I want it or because I feel like I deserve it after working hard? And look, there's nothing wrong with treating yourself. You should reward yourself for your hard work, but do it once, not every single month. Do it within your budget, not beyond it. And don't let one treat turn into a whole new lifestyle. The truth is, every dollar you spend on upgrading your life today is a dollar that is not working for you tomorrow. That dollar you spend on a nicer car is not going to grow. It is going to depreciate. That dollar you spend on eating out is gone forever, but that dollar you invest could be worth $10 in 30 years, $20 in 40 years. That is the trade-off. And once you start seeing money as a tool for buying future freedom instead of a tool for buying present stuff, it changes everything. I still struggle with this, by the way. I am not sitting here pretending I've got it all figured out. I still think about buying another car sometimes. I still catch myself looking at upgrades and mods and thinking, man, that would be fun. But now I pause. I think about the numbers. I think about what that money could be worth if I just let it sit and grow. And usually that is enough to talk myself out of it. Not always, I am not perfect, but more often than not, I make the smarter choice now. If you've fallen into lifestyle creep, don't beat yourself up. I did it for years. I wasted tens of thousands of dollars, but I learned from it, and that is what matters. You can change the past, but you can change what you do going forward. So ask yourself right now, are you upgrading your lifestyle or are you upgrading your freedom? Because those are two very different things. And the choice you make today will determine where you end up 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. You have the power to make that choice. You just have to be intentional about it. So yeah, that is my story. That is how I wasted a ton of money on cars and how I learned to fight lifestyle creep. I hope this helps you think twice before you upgrade your lifestyle with your next raise. And if you've got your own story about falling into lifestyle creep, drop it in the comments. I want to hear what you spent your money on.